years, Rachel Lamb kept a shocking secret about the true cause of her father Marcus Lamb's death, and now that truth has been revealed. While the world mourned the loss of Daystar's beloved founder, no one suspected the deeper and darker reasons for his passing. Rachel's revelations shed light on the details that would end jonilamb's reputation. But how did Joni herself react? The Lamb family, once united in faith and service, was now caught in a storm of discord. What really happened, and why did Rachel wait so long to speak out? Stay tuned for the shocking truth. Rumors surrounding the death of Marcus Lamb, theories and questions. The death of Marcus Lamb, the beloved founder of Daystar Television Network, left the Christian community in shock. While the official statement said he died from complications related to COVID-19, the circumstances surrounding his passing have sparked many questions and theories. It didn't take long for whispers to begin circulating, questioning whether the public had been told the full truth. Some people started to speculate that there was more to Marcus's death than what had been officially revealed. Was the stress of running a global television network contributing to his health issues? Could there have been other, underlying factors that played a role in his sudden passing? As the days went by, people started to notice inconsistencies in the details shared about Marcus's final days. While it was initially reported that he was suffering from severe symptoms, others claimed that Marcus seemed fine just weeks before his death. Some began to wonder if there had been other health problems that had been kept private for years, perhaps related to his heart or even mental health. Could Marcus have been hiding something from the public eye? And if so, why? His passing was so sudden and unexpected that it left many fans in disbelief. His health had always seemed relatively stable, and his energetic presence had never given any indication that he might be struggling with serious medical issues. Another theory that emerged was the potential toll his personal life and ministry might have taken on his health. Daystar, being a major force in Christian broadcasting, required constant work, long hours, and dealing with massive amounts of pressure. Could it be that the stress of leading such a successful, yet demanding organization contributed to his decline? Some speculated that Marcus's marriage to Joni Lamb had its challenges, with rumors suggesting that they had been struggling behind closed doors for years. Could the strain of managing both a ministry and a marriage have contributed to his sudden health issues? Fans began to question if there was more to the story, as some suggested that Marcus had been hiding personal struggles that had weighed heavily on him. Additionally, there were rumors about how Marcus' death was handled in the immediate aftermath. Why did it take so long for the family to release the news? Why was there so little information shared during the days leading up to his death? These questions only fueled the speculation. Some wondered if there was a cover-up of sorts, with the family and close associates trying to protect the public image of Marcus and Daystar at all costs. The longer it took for the full story to come out, the more theories seemed to pop up, leaving people more curious than ever about what had really happened behind the scenes. Theories ranged from claims of a health crisis that had been overlooked to suggestions of family secrets that had been carefully hidden away. Fans who had followed Marcus Lamb's career for years now found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about the man who had led one of the largest Christian networks in the world. The more time that passed without clear answers, the more the rumors seemed to take hold, leaving many wondering what the real story was.
My last night with Marcus at the hospital, I was taking care of him, and at around 3 o'clock in the morning, she said to me, she just looked at me in this dark room. I'm there serving, and she looked at me and she said, "Look what you have done to this family." I remember texting my mom saying, "I can't do this anymore. I told God, you feel the pain of my heart. Me and my child are ruining this family." And I said, "I know, my God, you're protective of me. You'll get me out of here." That was my last night. The next day, he dies.
Marcus Lamb's career and marriage to Joni Lamb. Marcus Lamb was a prominent figure in the world of Christian broadcasting, best known for founding Daystar Television Network, which quickly grew into one of the largest Christian TV networks globally. Starting with just a vision and a deep passion for spreading the Christian faith, Marcus and his wife Joni worked tirelessly to build Daystar into a platform that would reach millions with inspirational and faith-based programming. His career was a testament to his dedication to both his faith and his family. Over the years, Daystar became a beacon for Christian viewers around the world, airing inspirational shows, preaching, and music that resonated deeply with its audience. Marcus's journey to success was not an easy one. The couple faced numerous challenges along the way, including financial struggles and the pressure of leading such a large organization. But through it all, Marcus maintained a strong belief in his mission, never wavering in his commitment to using Daystar as a tool to spread the gospel and serve the Christian community. He was often admired for his passion, his leadership, and his ability to inspire others to follow in his footsteps. Marcus's relationship with Joni, whom he married in the early years of his career, was a key part of his success. Together, they not only built a family but also created a ministry that touched countless lives. Joni was often seen as Marcus's equal partner, standing by his side as a co-founder of Daystar and as a vocal supporter of their mission. She played a significant role in the network's programming and was often in front of the camera, speaking to the audience and sharing her own message of faith. The two seemed to have a strong bond, both personally and professionally, and their shared commitment to Daystar was evident in everything they did. However, like many high-profile marriages, theirs was not without its challenges. The pressures of running a major network and raising a family often took a toll on their personal lives. As much as they were seen as a model couple in the public eye, there were whispers that things weren't always as perfect behind closed doors. Some speculated that the intense work demands, long hours, and the weight of maintaining the success of Daystar might have strained their relationship over time. There were rumors of disagreements and struggles that the public was never fully privy to, despite their polished image as a happy, united family. In the later years, as Marcus's health began to decline, some of these personal and professional strains became more apparent. The demanding nature of their work seemed to take its toll on both of them, and some speculated that their marriage, which had been the backbone of their ministry, might have been quietly crumbling. But through it all, Marcus and Joni presented a united front, with Daystar continuing to thrive and expand its reach. Their commitment to each other and their ministry remained a constant, even as rumors about the true state of their marriage began to swirl. Despite these challenges, Marcus remained dedicated to his family and his work, always prioritizing his faith and the message he wanted to share with the world.
This is a very special program because we are going to be sharing our heart with you today, and I just want to say right at the front, sweetheart, that you and I are strong, and I think that our marriage is better today than it has ever been.
You are just an absolute angel, and I am madly in love with you, and you mean so much to me.
However, I do want to share something with you, and it is this. About, several years ago, Marcus and I went through a challenge in our marriage, and I discovered that he was having an emotional relationship, if you will, with someone, and that it had turned into an improper relationship.
Story of how Jonilamb destroyed the family. Rachel's hatred. Jonilamb, a powerful force behind Daystar Television Network, had always been seen as a strong, supportive figure in the public eye. To the outside world, her marriage to Marcuslamb seemed to represent the epitome of partnership, faith, and family values. Together, they built Daystar, reaching millions of people with their messages of hope and inspiration. But behind the closed doors of their private lives, things were not as picture-perfect as they appeared. As time passed, cracks began to form, and the perfect image of the Lamb family began to crumble. The problems between Joni and Marcus started long before anyone realized. The stress of managing a multi-million-dollar network, alongside raising a family, slowly began to take its toll on their marriage. It wasn't just the business side of things that caused tension, but the emotional distance that grew between them. Joni, who had always been a dominant figure in the ministry, found herself increasingly focused on Daystar's expansion. She poured her heart and soul into the network, ensuring that it grew in influence and reach. But in doing so, she often neglected the needs of her family, especially her husband. Marcus, who had always been the face of Daystar, struggled with the pressure of running the network. As time went on, his health began to deteriorate, both physically and emotionally. Yet Joni's focus remained firmly on her work, and Marcus's needs were left unmet. As the years went by, their marriage became increasingly strained. While Joni continued to pour all her energy into Daystar, Marcus withdrew into himself. Their once close relationship seemed to fade, and they began to grow apart. Joni, however, remained in denial about the impact her obsession with Daystar was having on her family. She couldn't see that her priorities were skewed. Her relationship with Marcus, once the foundation of their ministry, seemed to fray with every passing day. Rachel Lamb, their daughter, began to feel the effects of her parents' failing marriage. Growing up in the shadow of such a high-profile family, Rachel had always been expected to follow in her parents' footsteps, to become part of the family ministry. But she saw things differently. As a child, she had idolized her mother, but as she grew older, the reality of her mother's behavior became painfully clear. Rachel began to resent Joni for putting Daystar above everything else, including her own family. She saw how her mother's drive to build an empire had come at the expense of her father's well-being and her own sense of stability. The tension between Rachel and Joni grew as Rachel matured. She became increasingly vocal about her discontent, feeling that her mother's obsession with Daystar was poisoning their family. While Marcus was not the one to confront Joni about these issues, Rachel took it upon herself to speak out. She tried to get her mother to see the toll that Daystar was taking on everyone. But Joni was always too busy, too preoccupied with her mission. This only deepened the divide between mother and daughter. Rachel began to feel more and more like an outsider in her own family. As Joni poured her energy into Daystar, Rachel was left to deal with the fallout. She watched as her parents' marriage deteriorated, and all the while, Joni seemed oblivious to the emotional damage being done to their family. Rachel began to harbor a deep resentment for her mother. She couldn't understand why Joni couldn't see the pain that her focus on Daystar was causing. The ministry had become Joni's everything, and Marcus was slowly being pushed to the sidelines. The final straw came when Rachel witnessed the complete unraveling of her family. One night, during a heated argument, Marcus broke down, expressing how much he felt neglected and unsupported by Joni. Rachel, who had been silently watching for years, finally spoke up. She accused Joni of destroying their family, of letting Daystar consume her to the point that she no longer cared for the people who mattered most to her. Joni, still oblivious to the depth of her actions, dismissed Rachel's concerns, insisting that everything she did was for the greater good of the family. But Rachel couldn't see it that way anymore. She felt abandoned and betrayed by the one person she had once looked up to. In the years that followed, Rachel's resentment toward her mother only deepened. She became increasingly distant from Joni and Daystar. It was as if a wall had been built between them, one that neither of them could break down. Rachel had tried to talk to her mother, tried to make her understand, but Joni was too consumed by her work to truly hear her. The emotional distance between them was now insurmountable. Rachel's bitterness grew, and she found it harder and harder to hide the anger she felt toward her mother. She couldn't forgive Joni for prioritizing Daystar over their family, for allowing the ministry to take precedence over her father's health and her own emotional well-being. Joni, for her part, seemed oblivious to the damage she had done. She continued to pour herself into Daystar, preaching about faith and family while her own family fell apart. The irony wasn't lost on Rachel, who had once admired her mother's strength and ambition. Now, she saw only a woman who had lost sight of what truly mattered. Rachel resented Joni for refusing to acknowledge the harm she had caused, for her refusal to put family first. It seemed as though nothing could break through the wall Joni had built around herself, and Rachel became resigned to the fact that she would never be able to repair their relationship. As rumors about the Lamb family's struggles continued to spread, the media began to speculate about the true nature of their dynamic. The Lambs, once seen as the epitome of the perfect Christian family, were now the subject of public scrutiny. Rachel's resentment and anger became a focal point for the press, with many wondering what had really happened behind the closed doors of Daystar. Was Joni truly the villain in this story, or had the pressures of running a global ministry simply overwhelmed her? The speculation continued to grow, but for Rachel, the answer was clear. She blamed Joni for destroying their family, for allowing Daystar to become an all-consuming force that tore apart the very people it was supposed to bring together. The Lamb family, once united by faith and purpose, had fractured irreparably. For Rachel, there was no going back. She had watched as Joni's relentless drive for success had caused pain and suffering in their family, and she couldn't forgive her mother for it. The legacy of Daystar, for all its accomplishments, had come at a high cost, one that Rachel was no longer willing to pay. The rumors surrounding the Lamb family. The Lamb family, once considered the epitome of Christian family values and ministry success, had always been in the public eye. Marcus and Joni Lamb built Daystar Television Network into a powerful force in the Christian broadcasting world, reaching millions with their message of faith. Their lives, both personal and professional, seemed like a fairy tale. They were the perfect couple, dedicated to God, their family, and their ministry. The Lambs were admired, respected, and loved by many in the Christian community. But behind the polished exterior of their public lives, cracks were beginning to show, and the whispers of turmoil within the family grew louder with each passing day. As Daystar expanded, so did the pressure on the family. Running a global television network was no easy feat, and the demands were constant. Marcus and Joni, who had once seemed inseparable, began to show signs of strain in their marriage. While they continued to publicly present themselves as the perfect power couple, the reality was far more complicated. The stresses of balancing their work and personal lives were taking a toll. Joni, in particular, became increasingly focused on Daystar's growth, often spending more time on the network than with her husband or children. Marcus, while still dedicated to his work, began to feel the weight of the ministry and the toll it was taking on his health and personal life. As the years went by, their once close-knit family started to unravel in subtle yet significant ways. The rumors about the Lambs began to surface slowly at first. There were whispers about issues within their marriage, how Joni's commitment to Daystar was driving a wedge between her and Marcus. Some suggested that Joni's intense focus on the network left little room for her family, and that Marcus was feeling increasingly neglected. Others speculated that Joni's role in Daystar was growing more domineering, with her taking on a larger leadership role, while Marcus began to take a back seat. The public saw them as a united front, but behind closed doors, the tension was mounting. The whispers about their marriage grew louder as time went on. At the same time, there were rumors about the Lamb children, especially Rachel. Rachel had always been the quieter of the two children, but as she grew older, the strain of being part of such a high-profile family began to show. Some reports suggested that Rachel had become increasingly disillusioned with the way Daystar was run and the toll it had taken on her parents. Sources close to the family revealed that Rachel had started to feel disconnected from her parents, particularly from her mother, whom she felt was prioritizing Daystar over the family. This caused a rift between mother and daughter, with Rachel growing increasingly resentful of her mother's dedication to the ministry. As the years went on, the media began to catch wind of the growing tension within the family. Reports about Marcus's declining health became more frequent, with some speculating that the stress of his work and his strained relationship with Joni were taking a toll on his physical well-being. While Marcus had always been a public figure, known for his charismatic personality and leadership, those who were closest to him began to notice a change. He was no longer the vibrant leader he had once been. His energy seemed to wane, and his health deteriorated. Some insiders began to suggest that Marcus was suffering from the emotional and physical toll of years of intense pressure. He had become withdrawn, and those close to him feared that he was not taking care of himself. Meanwhile, Joni remained publicly focused on the network, traveling frequently and appearing on camera, but sources close to the family claimed that she was starting to feel the strain as well. Her marriage to Marcus had always been the cornerstone of their ministry, and many speculated that the growing distance between them was taking its toll on Joni emotionally. She was no longer the same vibrant, energetic woman she had once been, and the weight of running Daystar and managing her family was starting to feel unbearable. Some suggested that Joni was beginning to neglect her own health in favor of the ministry, and that her obsession with Daystar was driving a wedge between her and everyone else in her life. As Marcus' health worsened, the rumors surrounding the family's future only intensified. The Lamb family had always presented an image of unity and faith, but now it seemed as if everything was falling apart. Fans who had once admired the Lambs began to wonder if they were really as perfect as they had appeared. The whispers grew louder as rumors about Joni's role in Marcus's declining health spread, with some even suggesting that she had been too focused on Daystar to notice the signs that her husband was struggling. Meanwhile, Rachel was increasingly caught in the middle of her parents' turmoil. She had always been private about her feelings, but as tensions escalated, sources close to the family revealed that Rachel was beginning to feel alienated from her parents, especially from Joni. The perfect family image was crumbling, and the public was beginning to see the cracks for the first time. Amidst all of this, the rumors about Marcus's death began to circulate. His passing, though tragic, only deepened the mystery surrounding the Lamb family. While the official cause of death was complications from COVID-19, some insiders suggested that there was more to the story. Questions began to arise about whether Marcus had been hiding serious health issues for years, and whether his death had been the result of stress, neglect, or something more sinister. The media and fans were left to speculate about what had really happened in the final days of Marcus' life. The secrecy surrounding his health and the suddenness of his death only fueled the rumors. The Lamb family, once seen as the embodiment of faith and family values, was now at the center of a storm of speculation and gossip. The media, eager for answers, began to dig deeper into the family's personal lives, uncovering more details that painted a picture of a family in crisis.